Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad KHAIRIN, and with my partner Muhammad DANISH, we are going to present our slides on the research of English countries within culture's outer and expanding circles, by conducting this research through interviews that address the following issues. Firstly is the globalization of English, and second is English as lingua franca. Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Danish Khairin. For subject English in Varieties, I am going to do an interview. But before that, may I ask my interview to introduce himself?
Okay, my name is Muhammad Bala Omar from Nigerian. I come from northern part of Nigeria. I arrived here in Malaysia last year. So this is my 1 year now in Malaysia for master's degree.
Oh, master's degree. Wow. And what is your course? What are you studying for?
Master's in applied computing.
Oh, very good. Very interesting. Now, I'd like to proceed with the first question. What historic events have shaped English in Nigeria?
Okay, the event that shaped English in Nigeria is colonialism. During 1960, that Nigeria got the independence, so English has been used as an official language, but English is for British because Nigeria has been colonized by British. Yeah, so English, the colonialism is the event that actually shaped English language in Nigeria.
Okay. Now, for the next follow-up question is, how has English used in Nigeria changed recently, especially in pop culture and media?
Yeah, Nigerian, because like televisions, FM stations, so English is being used for official purpose in order to send a message. So though there are some, they do speak other local language so that others that doesn't understand English will get used to it. But actually, radio station, media, social gathering, English has been used here so that to carry everybody along.
I see. Alright. Thank you for answering that. Now for the next one, how do native speakers in Nigeria view their English compared to British or American English?
Actually, we in Nigeria, we see our English as unique, but though despite that, due to our tongue, that will be quite different from British and American. But anywhere we are, we see ourselves as unique compared to like other African countries. Yeah. So that is how we see our English.
Alright, thank you. Now, how do people in Nigeria feel about hearing their English in global media?
Nigerian always feel unique. Like actually, when someone sees Nigerian speaking, sometimes and you see a Nigerian speaking English, you can't even know it's Nigerian.
Oh, really?
Nigeria can sometimes be speaking when Nigerian went even like based in USA or UK for 1 year, you see the kind of how intelligence and smartness, because that is why Nigerians have been called giants of Africa.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Alright. Now, for the fifth question is, what are some unique slangs or words in Nigerian English?
Yeah, there are many. Like sometimes somebody says shakara, you are just doing shakara. So that shakara means you are feeling yourself, like shebi, like yeah. So how far?
Oh,
So there are a lot of things. So some is just derived from local language. So they drive it and then it becomes a slang. Like Pekin. Pekin in Nigeria means child.
oh,
Yeah. So that is how. some are. There are many, there are many, but that is just little.
Now, how have local languages shaped the English vocabulary in Nigeria?
Okay, yeah, like I said before the question before this, like some unique slang is derived from some local language. Like when I say Pekin, it's just like from southern part of Nigeria, the way they speak English. So those that does not understand English very fluently, they understand this, and it's quite, you can communicate with them in English. So that is how local languages shape English. Because like Igbo, they will have three major language in Nigeria, though Nigeria languages is more than 300. But the three major ones are Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo. So if you go to Igbo, they are the one that usually call child, Pekin. So you can see it's shaped English language, because even someone that doesn't know what child is, when you hear Pekin, you definitely know it's child. Yeah. So like also again like jollof, sometimes, or biscuit. So you know, biscuit is just like all these snacks of thing, yeah. So, but it's just generally in Nigerian language. When you say biscuit, you understand what it is.
Okay. Now, for for the final question, are there words in Nigerian English with different meanings in other regions?
Oh yeah, like some language. I think, like if I say smart, you know, smart is about intelligence. So in Nigeria, sometimes it doesn't even mean intelligence. Sometimes it can just be like you do something fast. Yeah.
Doing something fast
Yeah,
means like it's
yeah. Sometimes also one of the thing again, like I said, Pekin. When I used example before, Pekin in other country it might be something else, but in other country actually is child. So, but in Nigeria, using Nigerian language, you say Pekin.
I see.
Yeah, like rubber. We have what we call rubber, and rubber normally is just something of plastic nature. So in Nigeria, anything generally, either plastic or something, they just call it rubber. Yeah. So and sometimes in some other countries, or using, it might be plastic. So but in Nigeria, just to generalize, they can use rubber. Yeah.
Okay, I see. That is interesting. All right, now that concludes all of my questions. Thank you for answering every single question.
Okay. Thank you very much.
That concludes the interview.
Okay.
For my interviewee, I choose someone from Nigeria. His name is Muhammad Balu Umar, age 31. He is a university student studying for a master's degree in computer engineering. The first question that we ask is what historical events that have shaped English in Nigeria. Now, our interviewee said that Nigeria is mostly influenced heavily by the British, since they have colonized it during 1960s. And most other countries besides them were also colonized by the UK, and this has led to English being their second language. And for the second question is how has English use in Nigeria changed recently, especially in pop culture media? Now, within Nigeria, English is being used for official purposes within TV stations, the radio, and social media. This is due to the fact that there are almost everyone in Nigeria speaks English, since it is taught in their schools, and how they communicate for social gatherings, and it is used more widely rather than their language. On to the next question. For our third question is, how do native speakers in Nigeria view their English compared to British or American English? Now, to Nigerians, their own English is unique to themselves, and being compared to British or American English, it is hard for them to actually not have their mother tongue within English, within talking their English. Unlike comparing to British or American English, they have their own uniqueness to it. For the fourth question is, how do people in Nigeria feel about hearing their English in global media? Our interviewee says that Nigerians are very proud when they see someone from Nigeria speaking English, and some even didn't even notice that they were Nigerians in the first place, because there are many talented and and fluent English speakers in Nigeria. For the fifth question is, what are some unique slangs or words in Nigerian English? Now, there are a lot of Nigerian English slangs and words, and most of them came from their own language, such as the word shakara. Now, this is to mean someone that is showing off, and another is picking, which means children, and it is also included in their daily social conventions. Now on towards our sixth question, and it is, how have local languages shaped English vocabulary in Nigeria? Our interviewee gave the same example, such as the word pikin, meaning child, because the local language helps a lot in shaping the English vocabulary in Nigeria, because most Nigerians don't really understood a few meanings in English, such as the northern part and the southern part. They have quite many differences in how they understand and learn English. But if they include words such as the word pikin, meaning child, even people from the southern part of Nigeria can understand them more. And as for our final question, and that it is, are there words in Nigerian English with different meanings than other regions? Now, our interviewee gave a few examples. There are existing words in English, such as smart. In standard English, it would mean someone's intelligence, or someone that is doing something smart, something precise. But in Nigeria, it is different. Smart means someone that is doing work really fast. They don't have any issues. They are hard workers. Now, another word that has a different meaning is the word rubber. For standard English, of course, rubber is just a material, something that is plastic. But standard English, people would just call them plastic containers, but not in Nigeria. In Nigeria, rubber is used to describe for anything that has plastic in it. So they might not say plastic containers, they would say rubber containers. Now for the conclusion of the interview is, English as lingua franca in Nigeria is why English was widely used after the British colonization, and soon they standardized it and it became a big part in Nigerian culture. As for the globalization of English, it has immensely globalized Nigeria. Even the locals have started to make new meanings for existing words, and a large part of Nigerians, or rather it is they are young or old, they are learning and speaking English, as it is also a big part of their own administration and government. So if they need to get anything done, it would be in English. That is all from me.
Assalamualaikum. Today I'm here at University Technology Petronas to interview someone from the English speaking expanding circle. So my name is Mohamad DANISH from KPMSI and I'm from class TC 5D. And here is my interviewee. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Yes, of course. My name is Karim. I am from Syria. I am an exchange chemical engineering student here in UTP.
Oh, okay. So without further ado, let's start with the questions that I'm going to ask. So first, about the English language, what historical event have shaped English in your country?
I think it's mainly colonization. We were colonized by France during World War II. So France and nearby countries were also colonized by the UK. So while French was the second language for a while, English was also well known.
Oh.
So yeah.
So okay, that's good to know. All right. So my second question is, how has English used in Syria changed recently, especially in pop culture and media?
I think it's become more used. Back maybe 20, 30 years ago, French, like I said, was the main language used. But now a lot more English has become used, and a lot of people have wanted to learn English because of how all the media online and all the documents, or even government documents, things like that, have turned to English as the second language.
I see.
So people have wanted to learn English more. Yeah.
Oh, so that means it's now being accepted.
Yes, it's widely used. Most people understand or can speak it at least a little bit.
I see. Okay, for my third question, how do native speakers in your country view the English compared to British or American English?
Well, it's still considered a foreign language. They still prefer to stay away from it, right? And almost everyone will talk in the local Arabic language, but it is still viewed as a necessary secondary language. Any foreigner in the country would use English, so all the signs are in Arabic, and then there's English, right? Even in stores, they would need at least one person to understand English in case a customer came in that would speak English with them. Yeah.
So for my fourth question, how do people in Syria feel about hearing their English in global media?
I think they generally would prefer still the Arabic language, but they still accept it, especially if it's our dialect, or if you hear someone that is from our country, we can tell based on the accent. So if they hear someone speaking English with a Syrian accent, like if I am talking right now, I don't know if my accent is good or not, but if they hear it, they would be like, oh, so this guy is from my country, and they'd probably prefer it to be in Arabic, but still they would recognize that we have a distinct accent.
Okay, that means in English, your accent is quite special.
Yes, in general, it's like similar to neighboring countries, but it is distinctly Arab, yes.
Oh, alright. Okay, we're moving to the last three questions, was mainly about lexical and grammatical. Lexical and phonology. So for my first question is, what are some unique slangs or words in your country's English?
Well, it's not really slang. I would say it's more of the way our accent changed words. We have things like the letter P.
Yes.
A lot of people can't pronounce them, so it ends up being B.
B.
A very famous one would be Bebzi instead of Pepsi.
Yes.
So if you hear anyone say Bebzi, they're probably
the drink.
Yeah, the drink, exactly. So you'd recognize it. Yes.
Okay. For number 6, how have local languages shaped the English vocabulary in Syria?
Similar to the previous question, we use something we call Arabizi, which is Arabic and English put together. So you have some Arabic words thrown in with the English language. We put Arabic words with English connotations, like ending with ing or ending with ed. We kind of take it like an Arabic word and put it into an English sentence. So they kind of merge the two languages together. Yeah.
Oh, that means yeah, you can have past tense in Arabic and English.
Yeah, exactly. And we do the same thing with English in Arabic. So we take an English word and put it and give it the same grammatical value in Arabic.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So for the last question, are there words in Syria's English with different meaning than in other regions?
Not that I know of. I think most words are still used the same way because we don't really have history with English. So we haven't had time to change the meanings or use them in different ways.
So it's standard English.
So it's just standard English, but with a Syrian twist.
Yeah, because the accent is special, right?
Yeah, the accent is still there, but there hasn't been time. The language hasn't been there for long enough for us to be using it differently. Yeah. So we're still learning it, and we learn it properly and correctly. So I doubt anyone has changed it. Maybe there is a word that I don't know of, but yeah.
Okay. So that is all for my questions for Sir Karim, for Sir Karim today, and he has answered all my questions for this subject. Thank you, Sir Karim, for helping me, and this is all for my English and Varieties language subject interview. Thank you. Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Muhammad Danish bin Muhammad IRWAN, and for this final assignment, I'll be covering a country from the English expanding circle, which is Syria. And I will be talking about the globalization of English and English as lingua franca in Syria. Now, a little bit about my interviewee. His name is KHAIRIN or Karim. He is from Syria, he is 20 years old, and he is currently an international exchange student in the University of Technology Petronas in Perak. Now moving on to our first segment, which is History of English in Syria. So the first question will be, what historical events has shaped English in Syria? Based on Mr. Karim's feedback, English spread in Syria mainly through colonization, and not colonization by the British Empire. Syria was colonized by France during the Second World War. And not just Syria, the countries and neighboring countries of Syria was also colonized, but not by France, but by the UK. And with that, the UK colonization around Syria has made English to be well known in Syria. Thus, English is well known in Syria, while French was the second language during the French occupation on Syria. Now, moving on to our next question. Question number 2. How has English use in Syria changed recently, especially in pop culture and media? Mr. Karim stated that for 20 to 30 years, French has been the main language in Syria. But in present day, English is being used widely and most lately being used due to online media and documents, which is more to be conversely used in English. A lot of more people would like to learn and use English since English is the language used in social media and online platforms. Even government sectors are leaning into using English as the second language of Syria, where they are little by little using English in official documents and government authorization and also government duties. Next is the second segment, which is the speaker's reaction to English. Which brings us to question number 3. How do native speakers in Syria view their English compared to British or American English? Well, Mr. Karim has explained and I have analyzed that English is still considered a very foreign language in Syria. The Arabic people prefers to stay away from it, and almost everyone are still talking the local Arabic language, which is Arabic. So English is still a necessary second language nonetheless. This is also due to because Syria still receives tourists. So sometimes foreign tourists comes to the country, and not all tourists can speak Arabic. Mostly the signs are in Arabic, and well, not all signs are in English. So at least if there's a Syrian inside a shop or any retail, if they can speak English, they can help a foreigner who doesn't speak Arabic and speaks English. Now we are moving on to question number 4. How do people in Syria feel about hearing English in global media? Mr. Karim stated that generally Syrians will prefer English over Arabic, but they still accept it. They prefer English when they listen or hear Syrians speaking English in global media. Thus, this is due to because Syrians has a unique accent, yes, a unique Syrian dialect when they speak in English. As you can see before when I interviewed Mr. Karim, he has something that only Syrians have whenever they can or will do speak to foreigners, not in Arabic but in English. They have this dialect or accent that only Syrians have and no other Arabics have. Now we are entering our final segment, that is our third segment, segment number 3, which is the English features in Syria's English. Here are the last 3 questions. We are going to start with question number 5, which is what are some unique slangs or words in Syria's English? So Mr. Karim stated that Syrians has an accent when they talk in English. So the accent changes the words. Here's a great example that Mr. Karim has provided me, which is inside the Arabic alphabet, there is no letter P. They have only the letter B. So whenever there is a word that is spelled with the letter P in it, Syrians and Arabs will have problems when pronouncing the words. So for example, is where the popular beverage brand Pepsi, it will not be pronounced with P when you talk with Arabs or Syrians. So Syrians, when they want to order or they talk about Pepsi, they will not pronounce it as Pepsi, they will say it as Bepsi. So it's hard for them to pronounce the letter P. So same goes to any other words that has the letter P, like maybe for example please become please, and maybe for another example we take pogo stick, it becomes a pogo stick. Now on to question number 6. How have local languages shaped English vocabulary in Syria? Mr. Karim explained that there is a term or a way where Syrians put Arabic and English together, which is Arabizi. So in Arabizi, they mix and match English and Arabic words together, or maybe connotations. For example, making an Arab word by putting ing at the back, or maybe giving an Arab word past tense by putting ed at the back. So sometimes even during an English conversation between Arabic people in Syria, they maybe sometimes also put a little bit of English words into the sentence. Same goes to English too. If someone in Arab or in Syria talks English and then they changes a bit of words mid-sentence with Arabic. This is what Mr. Karim explained, and I've analyzed about the term Arabici, where they mix and match English and Malay, English and Arabic bit by bit together. And last but not least, our seventh and last question for the third segment: are there words in Syria's English with different meanings in different regions, in other regions? So during the interview with Mr. Karim has explained that most words are still used in the same way, in the same meaning, or in the same primary functions that they all have. This is due to the lack of history of English in Syria. Since Syria was, as I stated earlier, been previously colonized by French, they have not much history with English. English has only come to Syria 20 to 30 years later, after the Second World War. So English in Syria did not have much time to assimilate or mix with the locals and mix with the Arabic language to change or have different meanings for different words. So it's, as Mr. Karim has said, is in Syria is standard English. They use standard English but with a little Syrian twist, where in Syria there's only the accent but no special or maybe words that have double meaning or triple meaning. So it's because there have not been much history of English in Syria. They have made the locals in Syria to change meanings into their own unique meanings. Next, I'll be talking about English as the lingua franca in Syria. In Syria, English is not the main language. The main language in Syria is Arabic. However, English is used in many sectors of the Syrian country. In Syria, the tourism sectors also relies on English, whereas the administration is also leading towards using English in its formal and official documents. All of this is due to Syria's development. Syria is still a developing country, and with its development, it needs English proficiency at the national level to be adequate, or to be at least able to assist tourists from all over the world, where majority of them can speak English. And lastly is the globalization of English in Syria. In the tourism sector of globalization in Syria, the globalization of English is needed so that the tourists that comes to Syria could be assisted accordingly. Meanwhile, in administration, English is a language to be used to bridge the language barriers between Arab politicians and Syrian politicians with other politicians around the world, and it is to be used in formal documents. The globalization of English helps Syrian politics and Syrian leaders to implement English in their official and formal documents. This is all from me, Muhammad Danish. Now, about the differences and similarities between Syrian English and Nigerian English. Let's start off with the differences. We're going to be look about the differences in three perspectives: vowel pronunciation, colonization, and stress pattern. For vowel pronunciation, Syria English is influenced by the Arabic alphabet. As stated before, whenever they want to say the word Pepsi, it becomes Bepsi, where in the Arabic alphabet in Syria, there is no letter P, only the letter B. So That's how the Arabic alphabet influenced vowel pronunciation in Syria. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, vowel pronunciation is highly influenced by tone of speech, of how the Nigerian speakers talk English, how they speak English using their mother tongue and the mother tone. Next aspect is stress patterns. In Syria, Arabic influenced stress patterns might lead to the final syllable, which is usually stressed and given more weight. In Syria, where the English is highly influenced by Arabic, the Arabic way of speaking and talking could be seen much more heavier, and the heaviness of how they speak is adapted into the English speaking world. While in Nigeria, the stress patterns are not evident enough because Nigeria is not a stress-timed language. Nigeria may exhibit such stress patterns from native Englishes and also making Nigerian English much more unique. The last differences between Syrian and Nigerian English is the colonization. During the golden age of colonization, Syrian was not colonized by the British. Syria was colonized by French, making it not so proficient in English, where they had French colonizers. It is not same as goes to Nigeria, for Nigeria was colonized by the British, making Nigeria more proficient in the English language.
Now for the similarities, both Nigeria and Syrian English reflect local intonations, though their phonetics character are quite different. However, they share some general tendencies in pronunciation. First one is vowel reduction. In English, unstressed vowels often reduce with the schwa sound, while Nigerian English does not extensively follow this pattern. Speakers of Arab influence English, including Syrian English, may exhibit similar reduction in unstressed syllables. The second one would be consonant clusters. Now, Syrian Arabic typically avoids clustering many consonants together. So Syrian speaker may simplify complex clusters when speaking English, such as for the word Pepsi becomes like Pepsi. Now, similar to that, Nigerian English speakers may also modify or simplify consonant-heavy words in comparable ways. Now, although these broad patterns, each English variety remains unique, shaped by history context, language context, and individual speaker influence. Therefore, direct comparison between Nigerian and Syrian English is somewhat limited.
To conclude our assignment, in conclusion, this assignment has helped us to understand more about the English in other countries. Standard English is not much to be upheld if other countries have their own mother tongue before English. So it is evident that not all countries use Standard English. This assignment has helped us to learn the history, development, and current progress of English language in different countries. We have equipped and obtained a lot of information and delved deep into this topic that has given us the opportunity to acknowledge the importance of English, the modernization of English, and the globalization of English in the modern world. Thank you so much for this presentation that has been given us the opportunity of such interview and interviewees. Thank you.